So before, hey everybody, how you doing? Sorry, let me get into my introduction. Hey everybody, how are you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Hope your day is blessed. Hope you're warm wherever you are, not in the negatives like I am. It's cold outside, but I hope you're having a great day. Anyway, so today's video is going to be about Freemasonry, and I titled the video, I think I'm going to title it Freemasonry is Satanism. But before I get into the video, I was watching Fag Talk last night, and Craig was speaking, and I just wanted him to get. He was hot. He was hot. I just wanted him to, get hotter. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what he knows, but um, they were talking about, certain things, certain groups of people, and why there is no um pushback, from a certain community, and it's a reason for that. It's a reason why this community only speaks out when it's one of us saying something about them or questioning uh their identity, their stolen identity. So, yeah. But we're going to talk about this first, and then I am going to go into some Facebook posts showing that I have already been speaking about this stuff. Since 2014, 2015, but I'm going to show you some posts that goes back as to early as 2017. So, that was, 8 years ago. So, yeah, let's get into it. Get into this.
But then where is the Jewish community is what I'm wondering.
Where are
And I'm
they?
asking because they made Nick Cannon apologize for whatever the fuck he said. He lost his job. Now Elon Musk did this whole little gesture, whatever that gesture was that he did.
You know what the fuck that gesture was.
And where are the Jewish people? They ain't said a word.
It's the reason why.
Now whenever a nigga offends them,
the real children
they
of
all
Israel?
on the news.
Because they know.
Talking about anti-Semitism and, it shouldn't be tolerated and this, that, and the third. Where the fuck, where y'all at? Is y'all quiet than a motherfucker?
Hold on, Craig. So where they at is hiding in their boots because they know that black people are the true children of Israel. That's why anytime a black person speaks out against them, they get their panties in a bunch. The Asians can say whatever they want to say. The Mexicans can say well, because the Mexicans are the real children of Israel too. But all these other races can say whatever they want. But when we step up and say something, because they know that we are the true children of Israel. That's why it's important for you, Mr. Craig, for you to know your history. That same stuff that you telling them. Yeah. And so the same stuff that that you were saying earlier in the show about knowing black history, I can say to you about black biblical history. There is a reason why anytime a Nick Cannon, anytime a Nipsey or anybody that looks like us speaks out, because I liken it to, okay, say say that Craig was writing a book, right? Say that Craig was writing a book. And let's say I came through and I stole Craig's work, I stole his concept and everything else. Now, whenever somebody says something about it or they want to question it, like other people like Mo or G, I don't care, but whenever Craig says something, I get threatened because Craig knows that, I done came through and did what I did. And I don't know Craig. I'm just using him as an example. I have not even read none of his books or anything like that. And it's no shade, but yeah. But that's what it is. If I took something of his and then when he's accusing me or he's bringing facts that because it's his work, so he know that the ins and outs of it. Um, so he when he's presenting certain facts, oh I'm coming through. Oh, you're anti this, or you're bullying, or this is hate speech, or no. So that's what goes on with these people, and that's the example that I'm going with. Because that's what happened. They stole our identity. And so, they know that, uh, like white folk, like, American white folk, that might speak up about them. They know that they know that they not the people either. So, they ain't too much worried about, them, the other races. But they get upset at the Palestinians because the Palestinians know that they are not the people either. That's why in 1952, the president of Egypt told them that they would never have peace in the land because they left that land black and came back white. What do you think that means? But I'm here to show you how they even relate to Freemasonry and show you how they run everything, how they run all the pretty much the porn companies and all the media entertainment, and they own everything. And that's why Kendrick Lamar is receiving so much backlash. That's why he received so much hate because see, these people are all friends with, Drake. They all industry buddies, no matter if they in the NBA or anything else. They all are connected, And Kendrick is not with that. He keep to himself. He reminds me of me and how I deal with the LGBTQIA community. I keep to myself, and I receive a lot of hate from that because I don't run with the crowd. My views are my views, and I receive a lot of flack from that, So I get it.
Kanye has, I don't know if he still does, but he had a $20 T-shirt on his website, and that is the cheapest or least
with a
expensive.
swastika.
Yes, selling it from his website, and he said that he's trying to normalize swastikas and that just basically offensive terms and things to Jewish people, like the word nigger. He's trying to normalize it like the word nigger has been normalized.
I just want to point out that the swastika was it originally came from Africa. The earliest use of the swastika can be found in Africa. So, once again, they stole something and made it evil, like they always do.
Selling it from his website, and he said that he's trying to normalize swastikas and that just basically offensive terms and things to Jewish people, like the word nigga. He's trying to normalize it like the word nigga has been normalized. But I'm just curious to know like why they're so quiet. Because you remember when Nick Cannon had to apologize
Yeah, he did.
and he lost his job. It was somebody else that I had.
Also, keep in mind, Nick Cannon also told you that black people were the real Jews. So, yes, that's when it's certain people that they try to get and make apologize and stuff like that. But you can't refute the facts. You know, these people that they make an apologize, they got something to lose because they already in Hollywood. You know, so
His job. It was somebody else that I had in mind too that had to apologize to the Jewish community. But it's like they haven't said a word. Yes. And
Well, somebody come and said they was they somewhere counting money.
now I'm not saying that Kanye has not
Kanye said some shit, murder girl.
No. And what I'm saying is, and I'm not saying that he hasn't had some sort of breakdown. Oh yeah, Whoopi Goldberg had to apologize too. Remember, they suspended her for 2 weeks, and she wasn't even saying anything that was anti-Semitic.
they
But
not
see, I said this
Semitic.
before here, and I'm gonna say it again.
Kyrie. So keep in mind that Kyrie also told you that the Negroes were the real children of Israel. Do you see the pattern?
Fantasia.
And Whoopi, you know, I mean, they didn't like what she had to say. But Whoopi know the truth too.
I have found, or I've observed, Mark Lamont Hill. He was another one. I have found though, when there are things that are spoken truthfully about the Jewish community, they want to censor you. And so in some instances, they want to claim anti-Semitism, even when it's the truth.
Yep.
It's just a way of trying to censor your words.
Yes.
And I think I gave the example here before.
You
remember that History album that Michael Jackson did, that double album he did? Jew me, sue me, you can do me, kick me, kite me, you can black or white me. All I want to say is that
They don't really care about us.
Bitch, they pulled that song off the
Love Michael
off the shelves, bitch. This is before streaming was really a thing. People were going to Target buying CDs and shit, and Walmart and Sam Goody and all those places. They pulled that motherfucking song off the shelves, bitch. He had to go in the studio and re-record it, or either they edited it or however the fuck they did, but they took that motherfucking line out that I just sang. Because he said, Jew me, sue me, kick me, kike me. Those are supposed to be.
They took her.
Go listen to it now. That lyric is not there. And you know why they had the power to do that? Because they own the record labels.
Well,
what did what you call it say about him?
Media,
that
news,
he went
sports,
and bought Eminem catalog. Eminem, he
Michael
said something about
dope.
Eminem. I mean, Eminem said something about him, and he went and bought Eminem's catalog.
MJ
And they made Michael Jackson apologize. Yeah. But again, where are they with this whole thing with Elon Musk?
Right. Because he one of them. They the same
They
people.
real quiet.
They the same people.
That's all I wanted to say about that. And he was really disappointed. So
what do you think?
Somebody said in the comments, Palestine people are Semitic.
Craig, so are you. Maddie, so are you. You're Semitic too. We come from Shem. That's why my videos are important. Because I understand people might be educated, but clearly they're not educated on this subject. That rabbit hole goes very deep. And Palestinians, some of them are Semitic. Some of them. But they are more Semitic than those imposter Jewish people that's in Israel right now.
Well. What do we have here? December 2nd, 2017. A lot of older men get upset when I tell them Freemasonry is Satanism, but it is nonetheless. The same statue is in a satanic temple in Detroit. It opened around 2004, which is why things have gotten so bad in that area. Toledo, not that far from Detroit. And it's not so the statue that they had and they put in Detroit, it came from Salem, Massachusetts. To my understanding, it was taken back to Salem, but it was paraded around the country. It was in Detroit, it was in Alabama, and a few other places. So, but now I guess it's back in Salem. But look at this. Look. Initiation into the 18th degree of Freemasonry. Look at the robes. Look at the attire. This is me. Oh, this is my Facebook page, by the way. I have two of them, but this is the one I mostly post on, like all the truth I've learned and stuff like that. April 18, 2021. Don't cry for Notre Dame. Notre Dame is full of idolatry. Catholics invented Islam and is responsible for the mass murder of my people, Negroes and natives. King James the first and sixth is supposed to say sixth. The first and sixth was a black man against the Catholics, and so am I. To all my people who go to church and claim to read the Bible, this is idol worship. Look at these statues. Do they look holy to you? Catholicism is Satanism, and Catholics are evil. Now, I'm not talking about Sister such and such who sent her boy to Central Catholic to get a better education. I'm talking about the elites, the bishops, the priesthood. The sheep will never know what's going on, just like in Freemasonry, Eastern Star, sororities, and fraternities, all satanic entities. Then I give you some literature on Catholicism, Vicar of the Court, King of the Roman Latin Priests. All these letters equal out to 666. And yes, in spirituality, 666 can mean something different, but I'm not dealing with that right now. I'm dealing with what the Catholics use 6664. So, if you are into spirituality and, all that means, chakras and stuff. No, I'm not talking about that. And they don't believe that either. So, giving you you can look all of this stuff up. Pope is the false prophet. Vicarius Filii Dei, which is Latin for vicar of the Son of God, blasphemy. Catholics hold that the church, which is a visible society, must have a visible head. Hence to the Bishop of Rome, as head of the church, was given the title self-ordained Vicar of Christ. Yeah, right. Our Sunday Visitor, Catholic Weekly, Bureau Information, Huntington, Indiana, April 18, 1915. Look at this stuff. There are some of these pictures. All of this ties into what I'm about to talk about today. This all ties in. This is just the introduction. Does that look holy to you? No. No. All right. Okay, so this was September 25th, 2018. And like I said, if you keep on watching, you are going to see why I'm talking about all of this stuff right now. Because the person that's in the video, he gonna come through and explain it. What if I told you the Messiah, the real one, the black one, was not a fan of the three so-called Abrahamic religions or Freemasonry? Abraham didn't have a religion. He had the laws, statutes, and commands of the Most High. In Matthew 23, Messiah dropped some serious insight on who not to follow. He said, "Do not call yourselves or call another man rabbi, Jewish Master, Freemasonry, Islam, or Father, Pope, Christianity. In the original text, Father in that passage meant as a title of honor, not your literal father. And all those religions took some doctrine from the Bible and twisted others. First, the Jewish rabbis believe they have more knowledge than God, than the Most High. And you can find that in Baba Mezia 59b. And their Talmud says the Messiah is burning in excrement, Gittin 57a. And with the exception of the sect of Messianic Muslims, most do not believe Yeshua, the Messiah, is the Son of the Most High Power. See and Nisa 171, Al Baqarah 2, 116, and Al Isra 17, 111, to name a few. This is all they stuff. This is all in their Talmud and their Kabbalah, because that's what they believe in. So their Talmud, remember when Christ was talking about how they put a hedge around the Most High's laws? Where their Talmud and their Kabbalah, that's the hedge. They have awful things written in there. And you are going to see that all of this stuff was written after Christ, even 100 years after Christ. That's when their Talmud and stuff came about. And if you do the research, you will find that with their beliefs, and you will see these are not the chosen people. Further, the term Imam and Maulana means leader, lord, master, given to one who is over the congregation and people. Lastly, Christians will swear up and down they don't follow the Roman Catholics because they don't call the Pope Father, yet they do everything else the Roman Catholics do. Lastly, Christians will swear up and down they don't follow the Roman Catholics, meaning, we not extensions of the Roman Catholic Church. Oh, but you are, because they don't call the Pope Father, yet they do everything else the Roman Catholics do, from Sunday worship, holidays, to their doctrines and cross idols. If the Pope is the devil, then what are the so-called who follow his ways? I have already proved that Catholics invented Islam. Before the religion was named Islam, it was called Persian mythology, and they worshipped a different god every day of the year. And Freemasons called themselves Grand Masters and worshipful masters. We were warned. 1,000, the true Judah, hashtag the ghetto gospel. Colossians 2 and 8, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men and rudiments of the world, and not after the Messiah. So take Colossians 2 and 8 and apply it to this picture, into what you doing in them churches on Sunday. That's the part you don't want to hear, but it's true. Mark 7 and 9, and he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of God, that ye may keep your own tradition. The three so-called Abrahamic religions and Freemasonry. Matthew 23, 5, 8 through 10. But all their works they do for to be seen of men, be not called ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Messiah. Look at him. These three, the Jewish, the Freemasonry, and the Roman, they are the same people, man. All the same people. All right, so I reshared this December 26, 2004. But I originally shared this April 20th, 2019. So let's go here. Why didn't your pastor tell you how all wars, especially World War I, II, and III, was planned out by Satanists, the same Satanists that founded this country? Now, World War III has not happened yet, but judging from the looks of things, we not too far off. I said that back in 2019. The following excerpt is from a man named Albert Pike, a Satanist and 33rd degree Mason. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of aesthetic communism. I'm sorry, atheistic communism. I don't know where I got aesthetic from. Atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that the Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam and political Zionism mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations of the effect of the absolute atheism. Origin of savagery. You know what? I'm really tired of this. I'm really tired of this. Like, come on, man. Stop using my last name. Origin of savagery and of the most bloody turmoil. Whatever. Ugh. Then everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer. Brought finally out in the public view. But is this not what's happening? Is this not? I mean, they literally have shows called Lucifer on TV. So, this manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. So, I know that, a lot of atheists, they proclaim to not believe in anything, but guess what? Being an atheist is considered a religion. Hey, don't blame me. Something you probably wouldn't learn in church. Wars and how they relate biblically. History and prophecy. Many don't know we are in a war right now. It started 9/11, 2001. The climax of this war is when Christ returns. All three world wars are prophesied of in the Bible, and the third world war has already started. Just like in the former world wars, it took a world military effort to try and stop an evil movement of one group who wanted to conquer the world. Adolf Hitler tried to finish what Kaiser Wilhelm II started, world wars, which spanned into two world wars before Germany could be stopped. Well, this time there are multiple movements this time there are multiple movements or factions who are trying to conquer the world. ISIS, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are all trying the same thing that Germany did in the 40s. Why aren't we being told that we are in the middle of the Third World War right now? America has been at war since 9/11. The reason America won't acknowledge this Third World War is because the Third World War will be ended by Christ, not America. Let's first touch bases with the First and Second World War and then go into the third. Revelation 8, verse 13, King James Version. And beheld, I I beheld and heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, by reason of the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound. The word woe means destruction. Notice how this angel talks about three woes. As you read on, you will find out that each woe represents a world war. Here's the first. Revelation 9, verse 1. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Verse 2. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. In verse 1, the person that was given the key of the bottomless pit, which are these never ending wars 1, 2, and 3, was a man named Kaiser Wilhelm II of Germany. This man was the one who started World War I. Here's a source that proves this. When World War I started and ended by Brianna Tarleton, Kaiser Wilhelm II, 1859 through 1941. The last German emperor, Kaiser, led Germany on a more bellicose, self-assertive foreign policy where he wished to see Germany become a major European power. He formed a key alliance with Hungary. Crowned in 1888, he dismissed the Chancellor Otto von Bismarck in 1890 and launched Germany on a bellicose new course in foreign affairs that culminated in his support for Austria-Hungary in the crisis of July 1914 that led in a matter of days to the First World War. Revelation 9, verse 3, King James Version. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have given power. When it says, and there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, that is referring to the warplanes that were used during the First World War. These planes were called biplanes because they had two sets of wings and appeared to look like a locust when you seen them in the sky. This is the best way the prophet John could describe them. John also described them as having power like a scorpion, just like a scorpion's stinger is in its tail. World War I and II biplanes were equipped with gunners in the rear of the plane. Revelation 9, verse 7. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold, and their faces as the faces of men. John was being shown World War One's warplanes prepared for battle. The crowns are the helmets worn by the pilot of the plane. German pilots were well known for these chrome helmets during World War One. Then the scriptures go on and tells you that men were the ones flying in these biplanes. Revelation 9, verse 8. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. When it says hair like women, you will see in a lot of old World War One videos when the pilot flies in these biplanes, they had a scarf on blowing in the wind. The Red Baron is a good example. The teeth of lions is referring to the teeth that were painted on the front of a lot of World War One and Two warplanes. I'm so sorry. My tongue get twisted up easily, so I really have to take my time and I already speak fast, so I have to take my time saying World War because I will fumble it, as you can probably see. Revelation 9, verse 9. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. This is proof that what John was seeing was not actual locusts, but World War One biplanes. World War One biplanes were very loud because of their engines. Revelation 9, verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there come two woes more hereafter. This is the description of World War One in the Bible. Revelation 9, verse 17, King James Version. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone. And the heads of horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Verse 18, by these three was the third part of men killed by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone which issued out of their mouths. Verse 19, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails, for their tails were like unto serpents and had heads, and with them they do hurt. Just like in the First World War, the prophet John describes the warplanes of World War II. But these planes are a little more fierce, having bombs and bigger machine guns. But they still had the same type of painted teeth on the front and the guns in the front and rear of the planes. That is why it says, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. Revelation 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. The scriptures clearly show that there will be 3 world wars. The third world war has already begun. Christ will return at the climax of the World War III, when the nations are fully engaged in a battle with one another. Here's proof. Micah 4, verse 10, King James Version. Be in pain and labor to bring forth, O daughter of Zion, like a woman in travail. For now shalt thou go forth out of the city, and thou shalt dwell in the field, and thou shalt go even to Babylon. There shalt thou be delivered. There the Lord shall redeem thee from the hand of thine enemies. Now, and before I go on, I just want to say nobody knows the exact date or hour. Nobody knows that, you know. So I'm not saying that, he's gonna appear at this day. I'm not even giving you a date. Nobody knows that, nobody, but not even Christ. Only one that knows that is the Most High. But there are different clues that you can look to in the scriptures, because I believe um it was even something saying that if he didn't come back there would be no flesh left. So time was sped up even. Um, but anyway, going on with this, what we have been seeing in the world today is an escalation of World War III, which is leading to the beginning of a shift change that Christ is going to bring on before he rules here on earth. Just like when a woman goes through labor pains and contractions, they get closer and closer before the child is born. Well, the same thing goes for God's chosen people. The contractions that we are experiencing are the many plagues of earthquakes in diverse places, wars, and natural disasters. No one knows the exact day when Christ will return, but he did say, watch and pray. The Bible also says that we will be delivered from Babylon. The word Babylon means confusion, and nowhere on the earth will you find a more mixed up nation with every nationality, every language, every religion than you would right here in America. That is why America is referred to as the daughter of Babylon. And here's the proof. Zechariah 2, verse 7. Deliver thyself, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. Now that the First and Second World Wars have been proven, here is World War III. And for that, my friends, we have to go to the lost books of the Bible. The ones that your seminary theologian, school teacher told you that, wasn't canon. Well, it's very canonical. They're very canonical. Second Ezra 13, verse 29, King James Version. Behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon that will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth. Verse 30, and he shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth, and one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Sounds like civil unrest. And if it's talking about realms, that's something else. And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and the signs shall happen which I showed thee before. And then shall my son be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. What a lot of people don't understand is Christ is not coming back to win the ruling superpower nations over with love, or anyone else that does not want to serve him. Christ is not coming back to negotiate with any of us. The level of evil in this world has reached above any evil in history. Even before the flood, all nations are going to try and fight Christ. Matthew 10, verse 34. Think not that I come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Second Ezra 13, verse 33. And when all the people hear his voice, every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have one against another. Verse 34, and an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, and thou sawest them willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. But he shall stand upon the top of the Mount Sion, and Sion shall come, and shall be showed to all men, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this, my son, shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations which for their wicked life are fallen into tempest. Verse 38, and shall lay before them their evil thoughts and the torments wherewith they shall begin to be tormented, which are like unto a flame, and he shall destroy them without labor by the law, which is like unto me. The rulers of this world want you to put down the Bible and eliminate the knowledge of God from this earth. Their plans are to create a one world order without knowledge of the Most High in it. Yeah, so their new world order or their one world order where we can all coexist, all false doctrines. Just like they tried at the Tower of Babel. That is the Antichrist. The battlefield is being set up for Christ and the 12 tribes of Israel. These corrupt militant groups don't want to see us once all 12 tribes are united again under Christ as king. Here's proof. Jeremiah 51, verse 19. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war, for with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy the kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horses, the horse and his rider, and with thee will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. That means he gonna use us, the people. Zechariah 12, verse 7. The Lord also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. Verse 8. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. We are the most powerful military force on earth when we are locked into our Most High God in Christ. This is World War III, and it is getting closer to it is getting closer to Christ's return, so be ready. Revelation 13:11. And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to wake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. How would this all come to pass? Our Father puts different spirits on people to bring about prophecy. Read 1 Kings 22:19 through 23, Genesis 41, and Exodus 4:21 through 24. All King James Version, of course. Showing how 3 world wars have been planned for many generations. World War I. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Students of history will recognize that the political alliances of England on one side and Germany on the other side forged between 1871 and 1880 and 1898 by Otto von Bismarck, co-conspirator of Albert Pike, were instrumental in bringing about the First World War. The Second War, World War II, the Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm. After the Second World War, communism was made strong enough to begin taking over weaker governments. In 1945, at Potsdam Conference between Truman, Churchill, and Stalin, a large portion of Europe was simply handed over to Russia. And on the other side of the world, the aftermath of the war with Japan helped to sweep the tide of communism into China. Readers who argue that the terms Nazism and Zionism were not known in 1871 should remember that the Illuminati invented both these movements. In addition, communism as an ideology and as a coined phrase originates in France during the Revolution. In 1785, Restif coined the phrase 4 years before re- revolution broke out. Restif and Babeuf in turn were influenced by Rousseau, as was the most famous conspirator of them all, Adam Weishaupt. World War III. The Third World War the Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentur of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. We shall unleash the nihilist and the atheist, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, in which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then, everywhere, the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Since the terror attacks of September 11, 2001, world events, and in particular in the Middle East, show a growing unrest and instability between modern Zionism and the Arabic world. This is completely in line with the call for a third world war to be fought between the two and their allies on both sides. This third world war is still to come, and recent events show us that it is not far off. The New World Order. The term New World Order has been used by numerous politicians through the ages and is a generic term used to refer to a worldwide conspiracy being orchestrated by an extremely powerful and influential group of genetically related individuals, at least at the highest echelons, which include many of the world's wealthiest people, top political leaders, and corporate elite, as well as members of the so-called black nobility of Europe, dominated by the British Crown, whose goal is to create a one world fascist government stripped of nationalistic and regional boundaries that is obedient to their agenda. Listen to the Zionist banker Paul Warburg. We will have a world government whether you like it or not. The only question is whether that government will be achieved by conquest or consent. February 17, 1950, as he testified before the U.S. Senate. Their intention is to effect complete and total control over every human being on the planet and to dramatically reduce the world's population by 2/3. While the name New World Order is the term most frequently used today to loosely refer to anyone involved in this conspiracy, the study of exactly who makes up this group is a complex and intricate one. In 1992, Dr. John Coleman published Conspirators' Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300, with
laudable scholarship, and meticulous research, Dr. Coleman identifies the players and carefully details the New World Order agenda of worldwide domination and control. On page 161, The Conspirators' Hierarchy, Dr. Coleman accurately summarizes the intent and purpose of the Committee of 300 as follows: a one world government and one unit monetary system under permanent, non elected, hereditary oligarchists who self-select from among their numbers in the form of a feudal system as it was in the Middle Ages. In this one world entity, population will be limited by restrictions on the number of children per family, diseases, wars, famines, until 1 billion people who are useful to the ruling class in areas which will be strictly and clearly defined remain as the total world population. There will be no middle class, only rulers and the servants. All laws will be uniform under a legal system of world courts practicing the same unified code of laws, backed up by a one world government, police force, and a one world unified military to enforce laws in all former countries where no national boundaries shall exist. The system will be on the basis of a welfare state. Those who are obedient and subservient to the one world government will be rewarded with the means to live. Those who are rebellious will simply be starved to death or be declared outlaws, thus a target for anyone who wishes to kill them. Privately owned firearms or weapons of any kind will be prohibited. Why the conspiracy is unknown? Well, besides people only caring about gossip, drama, First 48, Maury's, Jerry Springer, The Real Housewives, being a playboy, the ballroom scene. Besides that stuff, because people are paying attention to that stuff, the sheer magnitude and complex web of deceit surrounding the individuals and organizations involved in this conspiracy is mind boggling, even for the most astute among us. Most people react with disbelief and skepticism towards the topic, unaware that they have been conditioned, brainwashed to react with skepticism by institutional and media influences. Author and deprogrammer Fritz Springmeier, The Top 13 Illuminati Bloodlines, says that most people have built in slides that short circuit the mind's critical examination process when it comes to certain sensitive topic. Slides, Springmeier reports, is a CIA term for a conditioned type of response which dead ends a person's thinking and terminates debate or examination of the topic at hand. For example, the mention of the word conspiracy often solicits a slide response with many people. What most people believe to be public opinion is in reality carefully crafted and scripted propaganda designed to elicit a desired behavioral response from the public. Public opinion polls are really taken with the intent of gauging the public's acceptance of the New World Order's planned programs. A strong showing in the polls tells them that the programming is taking, like y'all all just voted for that man that you just voted for. Stuff like that. While a poor showing tells the NW New World Order manipulators that they have to recast or tweak the programming until the desired response is achieved. Who is the New World Order? The corporate portion of the New World Order is dominated by international bankers, oil barons, and pharmaceutical cartels, as well as other major multinational corporations. The royal family of England, namely Queen Elizabeth II and the House of Windsor, who are in fact descendants of the German arm of European royalty, the Saxe-Coburg-Gotha family, changed the name to Windsor in 1914, are high level players in the oligarchy, which controls the upper strata of the New World Order. The decision making nerve centers of this effort are in London, especially the city of London, Basel, Switzerland, and Brussels, NATO headquarters. They are behind the New World Order, the top of the pyramid, the Rothschilds, the Vatican, and the British Crown rule world. These 13 families rule the world. The shadow forces behind the New World Order, the United Nations, along with all the agencies working under the UN umbrella, such as the World Health Organization, who are full time players in this scheme. Similarly, NATO is a military tool of the NWO. The leaders of all major industrial companies like the United States, England, Germany, Italy, Australia, New Zealand, etc., members of the G7, G8 are active and fully cooperative participants in this conspiracy. In this century, the degree of control exerted by the New World Order has advanced to the point that only certain handpicked individuals who are groomed and selected are even eligible to become the prime minister or president of countries like England, Germany, or the United States of America. It didn't matter whether Bill Clinton or Bob Dole won the presidency in 1996, the results would have been the same. Both men are playing on the same team for the same ball club. And that is what people don't get. That's what you can't understand. Let me say it again. It didn't matter whether Bill Clinton or Bob Dole won the presidency in 1996, the results would have been the same. Both men are playing on the same team for the same ball club. Anyone who isn't a team player is taken out, i.e., President Kennedy, because he was going to expose them. Ali Bhutto, Pakistan, and Aldo Moro, Italy. More recently, Admiral Borda and William Colby were also killed because they were either unwilling to go along with the conspiracy to destroy America, weren't cooperating in some capacity, or were attempting to thwart the takeover agenda. New World Order's role in shaping history. Most of the major wars, political upheavals, and economic depression, recessions of the past 100 years and earlier were carefully planned and instigated by the machinations of these elites. Most of the major wars, political upheavals, and economic depression/recessions of the past 100 years and earlier were carefully planned and instigated by the machinations of these elites. They include the Spanish-American War, 1898, World War I and World War II, the Great Depression, the Bolshevik Revolution of 1917, the rise of Nazi Germany, the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the 1989 through 90 war. The 1989 through 91 fall of Soviet communism. See, when I speak too fast, my tongue slipped. I told y'all that. The 1989 through 91 fall of Soviet communism. The 1991 Gulf War, the war in Kosovo, and the two Iraq wars. Even the French Revolution was orchestrated into existence by elements of the New World Order. The Rothschilds family fueled and financed both sides of all wars since Napoleon. The instigation of a trumped up war as a cover for amassing fortunes, which can be dated back to at least the 12th century, when only a core group of 9 members of the Knights Templar, remember that? Remember Knights Templar? That's why I keep saying the Knights Templar, remember them. Kicked off the Crusades that lasted for over a century and a half. In 1307, the King of France, Philip the Fair, coveted the wealth and was jealous of the Templars' power. The French king set out to arrest all the Templars in France on October 13th, While many Templars were seized and tortured, including their Grand Master Jacques de Molay, many other Templars who had been tipped off escaped. They eventually resurfaced in Portugal and Malta as the Knights of Malta, and later in Scotland as the Scottish Rites of Freemasonry, with Albert Pike playing a key role in defining a plan for establishing a world government. While many Templars were seized and tortured, including their Grand Master, Jacques de Molay, many other Templars who had been tipped off escaped. They eventually resurfaced in Portugal and Malta as the Knights of Malta, and later in Scotland as the Scottish Rites of Freemasonry, with Albert Pike playing a key role in defining a plan for establishing a world government. The acquisition and consolidation of greater wealth, natural resources, total political power, and control over others are motivating forces which drive the decisions of the New World Order leaders. The toll in human suffering and the loss of innocent lives are non-issues for these individuals. Further references, 3worldwars.com. Let's look at some of these pictures. Look at this. This is Esau, of course, but this is Albert Pike. Letter written by U.S. Confederate officer 150 years ago predicted first 2 world wars and said the third would be between Islamic leaders and the West. But is it just a hoax? I don't know. You tell me what's going on today. Albert Pike, and this is just, I already read this, talking about the Second World War. This is him again. Look at the 33 degree. You know, all the symbolism. Okay, and do y'all notice? Okay, so you see his thing, right? The thing on his... And then look at the bottom. Do y'all see that little bird? You see that little dove-looking thing? Ain't that the same symbol that be on TBN? I told y'all about them. That Trinity Broadcasting Network, I told y'all about them. They little... that little shield that they use, that's Illuminati. That's Masonic. They get down with the get down. They are not about Christ. They are not about Jesus. They're not about God. None of them. Well, I can't zoom in on this, but now look at this. America has been at war 93% of the time, 222 out of the 239 years since 1776. The U.S. has only been at peace for 21 years total since its birth. Ain't that something? Look. You can read it for yourself. This was written in 2011. The genetic ancestry of the Jewish, not of me, but the Jewish, because I'm the real Jew. See, that was one of their first conversions around 720 BC is around one of their first conversions, but this also happened as well, and I've also talked about this already. The Balfour Declaration that was created, the alliance between America and Britain that came together to form that false state over in Palestine. You need to know your enemy. These men rule the world. And you see who ain't on there, right? The current president, because he's nothing but a puppet to them. They laugh at him. We think he's up there in the upper echelons, but he's actually not. These men right here are. They have more money than him. They laugh at people like him. How he look at us, that's how they look at him. Yeah. This man founded the KKK. This was from 2017. Just wanted to show actual warplanes with the teeth on them in the front. Warplanes. That little symbol right there, that's what I was talking about. That's on the TBN. Just in case you need to know. Some people talking about the New World Order. Literally. They've been manipulating. They don't want to talk about this. Hey, David Schwimmer, you want to talk about this? Hey, David Schwimmer, do you want to talk about this? I mean, because you calling people out, you know, let's call out yourself and your own people. See? Jews not related to biblical Hebrews. That's what that says. See right here? This was the president of Egypt. This is what the president, Gamal Abdel Nasser, stated on television. You, the Jewish, will never be able to live here in peace because you left here black but came back white. We cannot accept you. That was in 1952. Seems like the world knows that your people are imposters.
These men who are bringing about the New World Order don't believe in the God of the Bible. They believe in the God of light, Lucifer. They believe that man was held prisoner by a vindictive, cruel God named Jehovah in the Garden of Eden. And that Lucifer, through his agent Satan, set man free from the bonds of ignorance to which he was chained to the Garden of Eden, and thus brought the gift of intellect, wisdom to man, and thus is the true benevolent God. And man, with his intellect and his wisdom and his knowledge, will create technology which will elevate man to the position of God. And all this is allegorical. Don't take the story literally. But I can tell you that they pervert whatever it is that might be divine about their philosophy by becoming what they profess to destroy. What makes it difficult for anyone to succeed or live, or for us to really come together and have peace in this world, are all of these people who think that they are the guardians of the secrets of the ages and only them have truly mature minds, so only them are worthy of knowing the secrets and the real science and the real metaphysics and all of these things. So they repress it and they keep it secret, so the rest of us live out our lives and we don't know the truth of what life is really all about.
Is, after the Hebrew Bible, the central text of Rabbinic Judaism and the primary source of Jewish religious law and Jewish theology. We have gathered a few rules from the book that Jews are taught to follow. Keep in mind, the word goyim in Hebrew means a non-Jew in English. Sophorim 15. Even the best of goyim should all be killed. Yebamoth 98a. All children of goyim are animals. Baba Meziah 114b. Gentiles goys are not humans. They are beasts. Gatshas 2. A Jew may violate but not marry a non-Jew girl. Sanderin 54b. A Jew may have sex with a child as long as the child is less than 9 years old. Tospot Jebamoth 84b. If you eat with a goy is the same as eating with a dog. Baba Meziah 24a. If a Jew finds an object lost by a goy, it does not have to be returned. Talmud is,
the synagogue of Satan are pretenders, imposters, pretending to be Jews. That's hard for a lot of people to understand. But Jesus knew in the last days there's going to be a group of people, imposters, pretending to be Jews, but they're really the synagogue of Satan. American Christians are always supporting the people who persecute Christians. I mean, American Christians support the people who are persecuting the Palestinian church. Look at what the persecution of the Palestinian churches. Who's doing it? Synagogue of Satan.
Yes.
Who supports them? American evangelicals.
And we can go down through the list. We can go through Syria. We can go through Iraq. We can go through so many countries.
So what we really can say is the American evangelical church is actually more satanic than it is Christian.
Wow.
Whoa!
Yeah. You heard it from Rick. So,
dear Lord, help me.
And I just want to even go further to say, man, that you can sit up here and say, oh, I don't support that. Oh, but your tax dollars do. And therein lies your support. Because America sends our tax dollars, billions over there, annually. So
Israel has nothing to do with Jewish culture. It's an implant. It's like white South Africans. But Israeli culture, such as it is, has nothing to do, or very little to do with Jewish culture. Jewish people, by definition, have no common language, no common culture, and no common country. They're united by their faith. That's it. That's why you could have Jews in Yemen, Jews in Poland, Jews in anywhere else who don't speak the same language, who don't eat the same food, who don't look alike, practice the same faith. The Zionists came to Palestine and created this new thing and claimed that that was Jewishness. It had no faith in it. It's completely secular. It was racist and violent and violated every single Jewish law known to man. Remember this thing, something about 10 Commandments, about no stealing and no murdering and no killing? Well, Zionists threw that away right off the bat. Jewish sovereignty in the Holy Land is prohibited by Jewish scripture. Jews are prohibited from sovereignty in the Holy Land. Jews are prohibited from carrying arms. Jews are pacifists. Why is that a problem? If anybody doesn't want to live with Arabs, why did they come to an Arab country to begin with?
Majesty, you're not telling me that the Jewish lobby in the United States pulls
everybody
the strings
ain't
of the
lying.
presidency.
Everybody is not lying.
Not entirely, but I think even a little too much, even for Israel interests.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
How do you mean pushing around?
Well, pressuring. They have many means at their disposal. They are putting up pressure on many, many people. And at the end, I don't think that it will even help Israel.
Why, if this is true, why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty.
banks, finances, and I'm going to stop there.
Surely.
What's his name? The father of communism.
I just told y'all
Marx.
about this.
Yeah, Marx was a Jew with a long line of rabbis as his background. Most people don't know that. We were just talking yesterday in the other podcast about, I just kind of slipped it in there, the Jews are responsible for the Bolshevik Revolution. According to the history, 95% of the leaders were Jewish. And they were all considered to be non-Jewish Jews. So they were Jews who stepped away from God and the beliefs and following the commandments.
They never did.
95 or even 90%, it's a huge percentage of them. And it was responsible for what happened in World War II. So what's his name? The father.
Sir, the reason why they stepped away because they never stepped to. Those are not the people, but I just talked about this though. So these are receipts of, other people telling you this stuff that I just read about this.
some voting meddling, bro. I'll put the Europeans on. Look at the president of Mexico, Jewish lady, in a country that's 99.9% Catholic. And I catch what she's doing. She was way whiter before. What she's been doing is going out in the sun, getting sunburned, trying to make her skin tan. I've been seeing her going to all these small villages and like dancing with the local politicians and doing little Mexican dances. And like she's like getting swung around by the dudes. So I'm like, all right, cool. But within one day of her winning the presidency, she was shaking hands with Larry Fink from BlackRock. And in that election, there was 38 assassinations, not attempted, assassinations on people running for the president of Mexico. And the unofficial number is over 100. I want to hear some voting.
But see, this is what they do. They slither in and they change their name. They change their identity. You just heard them say she was getting sunburned, trying to look darker. And then I've talked about this BlackRock person or whoever. I've talked about them too in the past. You know, I talked about them, I think, in the last chapter of my book when I'm talking about the fashion industry and why I'm not into labels and stuff like that. But this is what they do. That's why they are the Romans. They are the Germans. They are all the same people. These Khazars have slithered about. It's your dumb self that don't want to believe. I just can't believe somebody would do that. I just can't believe it. I just can't believe that somebody would just be that evil. Well, guess what? They are. They are. And people that think like that, I just can't believe somebody would do that. I just can't believe our own government would, be a part of a satanic ritual sacrificing thousands of people by flying 2 planes into 2 buildings. I just can't believe they would do that. And that, because you don't believe that, that's why you're stupid. That's why. Because you're stupid. Pretty soon, when all of this is like being brought out, there's going to be people that have no choice but to realize you're dumb. You're delusional. You are dumb. That's why you don't know. Because you're dumb.
And honest about the stats. 17 of the top 25 hedge funds are run by Jews. 17 of the top 27 donors in the 2020 presidential election were Jews. 7 out of 8 Ivy League universities have Jewish presidents. 3 out of 3 of the major recording companies and major record labels run by Jews. 5 out of 6 of the major media companies the past 5 years run by Jews. CEO, chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jewish every year from 1987 until 2018. Jewish DHS secretary, secretary of state, chief of staff, DNI director, deputy and undersecretary of state. Every one of the Biden children married to somebody Jewish. The vice president married to somebody Jewish. Republican Jewish Coalition, Zionist Organization of America, AIPAC, the most powerful lobbying group in the country on both sides. Consensus, unanimous votes for foreign aid to Israel. Unanimous votes for military aid to Israel. ADL and SPLC, selected trusted flaggers for YouTube and Facebook. They are the experts to craft the content moderation guidelines for the big tech companies. When they bring in the experts to censor social media, who do they bring in? The SPLC, founded by a Jew, board full of Jews. ADL, founded to prevent the defamation of the Jewish people. These are the facts. It's peculiar. It's remarkable. It's statistically significant. It is anomalous. It is strange. And it's true. Well, let's just be open and honest about the stats. 17 of the top 25 hedge funds are run by Jews. 17 of the top 27 donors in the 2020 presidential election were Jews. 7 out of 8 Ivy League universities have Jewish presidents. 3 out of 3 of the major recording companies and major record labels run by Jews. 5 out of 6 of the major media companies the past 5 years run by Jews. CEO, chairman of major record labels run by Jews. Have Jewish presidents. 3 out of 3 of the major recording companies and major record labels run by Jews. 5 out of 6 of the major media companies the past 5 years run by Jews. Major record election were Jews. 7 out of 8 Ivy League universities have Jewish presidents. 3 out of 3 of the major recording companies and major record labels run by Jews. 5 out of 6 of the major media companies the past 5 years run by Jews. CEO, chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jewish, every year from 1987 until 2018. Jewish DHS secretary, secretary of state, chief of staff, DNI director, deputy and undersecretary of state. Every one of the Biden children married to somebody Jewish. The vice president married to somebody Jewish. Republican Jewish Coalition, Zionist Organization of America, AIPAC, the most powerful lobbying group in the country on both sides. Consensus, unanimous votes for foreign aid to Israel. Unanimous votes for military aid to Israel. ADL and SPLC, selected trusted flaggers for YouTube and Facebook. They are the experts to craft the content moderation guidelines for the big tech companies. When they bring in the experts to censor social media, who do they bring in? The SPLC, founded by a Jew, board full of Jews. ADL, founded.
That's why you can't talk about them.
Remarkable. It's statistically significant. It is anomalous. It is strange. And it's true. Well, let's just be.
Yay. So, this is from a video that I did 5 days ago. And I told y'all about a meeting that was had amongst the rappers and the music executives. Oh, I think it's just like the music executives from the meeting. From the letter that Crazy Bone was talking about. And so, but yeah, y'all about to hear this again because it needs to be heard. The people who made the decisions were these people. You just heard him say 3 out of 3 of the major record labels are headed by who? Jewish people. So now I'm gonna show you what their plan was. It's talking about the Jewish that they blackball our artists, and that is Jewish. Why they never honored Nicki like they should have. I remember something about her pissing off a high-ranking Jewish music executive, some earlick pervert. Some earlick pervert. I do believe her Grammy performance was some type of ritual. I ain't gonna lie. It was very much so weird. And I was like, this is a ritual. I don't know what I'm watching, but this is a ritual, and I don't like it. I wasn't amused in regard to her performance because of my views on Hollywood and the whole Illuminati BS. Also, I felt it was bad timing because Whitney had just passed, and conspiracy theorists were having a field day with that. Taking it all in, it was giving rituals and devil worship. But that's what these Jewish people want because they are into all that stuff with their Talmud and Kabbalah worship. Are these celebrities innocent? No. And you are seeing that now because they partake in it, setting themselves up to be exploited. But I still blame the bastards. Y'all know how I feel about Jewish people. They literally own mostly everything. They have stolen our identity, exploited the real Jews, Negroes, and made billions off of our backs after they already stole our gold. Many of our icons, MJ, Prince, and Whitney, died at their hands, and some even died broke. Just want to point this out because the audio that y'all about to hear next. So this is where the audio is coming from. You can go here to this person's page. I just typed this in though. I typed it in.
The letter is the secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
I'm about to show you, or Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony is about to tell you
Cleveland!
why this came to be about.
That
Ohio,
changed rap
stand up.
music and destroyed a generation. Damn. So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Damn. So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for. Damn. Hold on, let me So we gonna tell a story. We gonna tell a story. We ain't scared. You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do? They after us, not playing. Look, that black van. So look. So he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted. Right. This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction. Yeah. Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Fair use.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there. Right. Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop. Talk to them. Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign a confidentiality agreement preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me. That's right. A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start. Talk to him, Jake. It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second. Get your popcorn, y'all. Popcorn, get your pistol. No, for real though. Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic.
Right.
Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague, who opened up the meeting earlier, hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting.
Damn.
I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do. No, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word the last thing he said. It's out of my hands now. Just remember you signed an agreement. He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So this meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this person later on, he said, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. A few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just over the years he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
over 2 decades.
He sat back and was like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers.
See?
Any more rappers that had messes in their music.
No positivity.
It was all to be gangster rap music that they promoted
NWA
and put out.
Niggas with attitude.
If you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Pro Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking. Even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, You know what I'm
Everybody.
saying?
Even on the
it's a back
female
door.
rap.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's
You know
why
what I'm
if you
saying?
even notice though, now
we talk about that all the time.
Even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe in 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they
Man, he just said a whole mouthful, y'all. Even with the female rap, when he mentioned Queen Latifah, my cancer sister. You know? Who you calling a bitch? You and I, you know? And in comes, you know, Kimberly Denise Jones. That's my girl. I love Little Kim down. That's my girl. Y'all don't even understand. But I gotta tell the truth. I gotta tell the truth. And from that is how we got to where we are today. Where everybody talking about they cooch and they cooch do wonders and buenas noches and all of this different bunch of crap. They got rid of the rappers. And they brought in the mumble rappers, the rappers. This is how it's no shade. It's no shade.
It's how you got the Migos. No shade, but
Cash Money and you know that, you know, they're not conscious rappers. They not KRS-One. They, you know, their message was not good for us. Period. You know, and hey, I love them down. You know, hey, I love back that ass up. You know, I mean, have won many family dance competitions to that little song. Out dancing everybody. So I get it. But we need to understand the plan that was put against us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The bigger picture, he just told you. He just told you.
This is from a video that I have already done. Yeah, I know it only got 2 views, but that's okay, you know, because like I said, I don't do this for the views. I know that one day, you know, my work will be discovered. I know that one day, you know, my work will be looked upon. And because I'm talking about real stuff. I'm not talking about the ballroom scene. Well, I do talk about it, but I'm talking, the majority of what I talk about is real stuff outside of this church gossip stuff. So this is my work. This is what I'm about. And this is what I have been doing. This is why I be so out the loop on black gay culture, because I've spent my time learning about what I'm telling you about, real stuff that's plaguing our people, even in the LGBTQIA. So this is from a video that I already did. And this is my channel. If you want to check it out, feel free. If not, hey, that's cool too. But
Deuteronomy 28, verse 22, King James Version. And, I'm sorry, verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass, and the earth that is under thee shall be iron. This curse represents the hard lifestyle that we will have to grow up in. Some may describe this curse as being raised in the school of hard knocks. Rap music glorifies this way of life, leading to our degradation. Prison is another example of this curse. The majority of our men are either dead or in prison. According to the 13th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, when you are incarcerated, you are not only mentally enslaved, but you lose all your rights and become a physical slave again to the state and federal government. Slavery never ended. It just evolved. The system that we live in is designed to imprison the majority of our blacks, Hispanics, and Native American brothers. Here's another article that proves this fact. And this is from American Press, americanprogress.org/issue/race/news/2012-0313. The top 10 most startling facts about people of color and criminal justice in the United States.
The result. This is the result of their meeting.
About 30% of the United States population, they account for 60% of those in prison. The prison population grew by 700%.
770
to 2005, a rate that is outpacing crime and population rates.
700%.
March 13, 2012. And these yahoos, it's like they can't see that, you know, this is all planned. Like, this is all planned. But I'm going to let one of y'all own, if I can find a video, I'm going to let one of y'all own tell y'all. But first, I'm going to show you what I have read. One moment. Let's see.
Listen to this.
Moment. What made me change my perspective? And it's when I saw this. So a black person in the United States during the Jim Crow era faced second-class citizenship, disenfranchisement,
Kind of see what it is, right? It's one of them.
education, barriers to employment, and barriers to housing. Then we had the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which stated we could no longer do any of this. We could no longer discriminate based on race. So in 2023, what is the only group of people that we can legally discriminate against? We can legally relegate to second-class citizenship, create barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, barriers to housing. If you answered convicted felon, you are absolutely correct. In 2023, a convicted felon is the only group of people that we can legally do all this to. Now, do you believe it's a coincidence that 1 in 3 black males carry this label as convicted felon, as opposed to 1 in 17 white males? If you answered yes to that question, let's take a look at what's happened since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws. We've had a 700% increase in our prison population. We've gone from 300,000 inmates to as high as 2.3 million. Now, I do believe we're back down to about 1.8 million today. We had the Law and Order agenda, which was an increase in police spending and a decrease in school funding, which created the school-to-prison pipeline. We also had the war on drugs, which we now know was a war on people. We had the
Black people.
1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, and we had the 1994 Crime Bill. Now, the 86 Anti-Drug Abuse Act differentiated between rock cocaine and powder cocaine, which we know predominantly impacted the black community. And the 94 Crime Bill created harsher sentences, lengthier sentences, and minimum mandatories. We also know that black people make up 53% of all exonerations, 69% of exonerations for drug crimes, and they're 7 times more likely to be wrongly convicted. So when I seen all of this, I realized that racism in this country never ended. We have a systemic issue. People ask, what was my aha moment? What made me change my perspective? And it's when I saw this. So a black person in the United States during the Jim Crow era faced second-class citizenship, disenfranchisement, barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, and barriers to housing. Then we had the 1964 Civil Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which stated we could no longer do any of this. We could no longer discriminate based on race. So in 2023, what is the only group of people that we can legally discriminate against? We can legally relegate to second-class citizenship, create barriers to voting, barriers to education, barriers to employment, barriers to housing. If you answered convicted felon, question, let's take a look at what's happened since the dismantling of the Jim Crow laws. We've had a 700% increase in our prison population. We've gone from 300,000 inmates to as high as 2.3 million. Now, I do believe we're back down to about 1.8 million today. We had the law and order agenda, which was an increase in police spending and a decrease in school funding, which created the school to prison pipeline. We also had the war on drugs, which we now know was a war on people. We had
Black
the
people.
1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act, and we had the 1994 Crime Bill. Now, the 86 Anti-Drug Abuse Act differentiated between rock cocaine and powder cocaine, which we know predominantly impacted the black community. And the 94 Crime Bill created harsher sentences, lengthier sentences, and minimum mandatories. We also know that black people make up 53% of all exonerations, 69% of exonerations for drug crimes, and they're 7 times more likely to be wrongly convicted. So when I seen all of this, I realized that racism in this country never ended. We have a systemic issue. People ask, what was my aha moment? What made me...
Well, thank you, Mr. Esau. See, but I like, you know, I like white guys like him that can see the writing on the wall. Like, that can see, like, yes, the aha moment. Carrying on. I'm sorry, but I'm not trying to offend, you know, any of these new generation of artists or anything like that, but their music is not conscious. It's nothing empowering about their music for our people. KRS-One pretty much told you, he got a whole rap about black people being the true Hebrews, telling you that we come from Shem, we come from Abraham. Nobody is doing that anymore. Even DMX was one of the realest dudes ever, you know? But these guys are not, you know, there's nothing to them. And then everybody be so quick to point out how these new rappers of today, you know, they call them the gay agenda and stuff like that, you know, and you got them dressing up as girls and, you know, devil worshiping and stuff like that. I think like Lil Uzi Vert is one of them, but and artists like him, and it's no shade to them. I'm just saying, you know, what everybody else is saying. But it's like you can see the agenda in that, but you can't see the agenda in this. What I'm playing for you. They came together, and it's the reason why these people like Liar Conhen. Yeah, you might call him Leor, but I call him Liar Conhen. It's the reason why guys like him are over the real Jews, because they do nothing but exploit the real Jews after they stole our identity. And people like Rick Ross and, you know, Snoop Dogg, and I'm sorry, I'm saying it. These are people who have sold our people out. I already showed you a video where it got him signing, you know, Meek Mill into the bull crap. He did the 666 and the gesture with his hat. Y'all see this, it's in your face. You know, you can't act like it don't exist. And it exists in the NBA and NFL too. You know, this is what heterosexual black men, they like to turn a blind eye to this stuff and act like it don't exist, but it does. And this is the reason why I believe Kendrick Lamar is so hated. Because think about it. And I'm talking to like my people like Lovely T and, you know, who do this commentary stuff. Think about it. Because Lovely T, she know music. But think about it. I'm sure she know KRS-One and, you know, all the old school artists, because she's real big into rap. And so Kendrick kind of represents that old school, just in a new package. You know, the beat's fresher, but he still represents that old school. And I'm playing a video about a meeting that was had where they wanted to get rid of that. And Kendrick keep to himself. He ain't, with all of that, um, fake ally stuff. And so, yeah, he gets a lot of hate. A lot of hate in the industry. I was even surprised to see like people in the NBA hating on him. I'm like, that's crazy, but it is what it is. They all want to back, you know, um, the industry's golden child, who was Jewish on his mother's side, who's having a tantrum, or who was having a tantrum. That's what that lawsuit and stuff was about. So, and that'll let you know, ain't no real rapper. And I'm not saying that he is a pedo, but I do question that interview that he had with that child. It's like, why are you, this big grown man, sitting up here talking to this child? Would you give a person like you that opportunity? Because you haven't. So, but all that's here, nor there, whatever. That's why I believe Kendrick gets a lot of hate that he does, because he represents that old school way of how artists used to be, and he's not starved for the fame and attention. This was his moment. This is his moment. He capitalized off of it, and he got his coin, he got his Grammys, he got it all, and it's game over. You know what I'm saying? And if he do decide to take a break for the next 5 to 7 years, hey, he he just dethroned one of the biggest, quote unquote, biggest golden child of the music industry, And it makes me wonder, because I know how I've studied these circles and I know how they move. And it's like, what did he do? Who did he piss off? Because for them to allow that to be played at, the Grammys in that moment, and then the Super Bowl thing, that'll show you that, it to me, it seems like a humiliation ritual or a punishment of some type. So that's why I'm asking, like, well, who did he, piss off? And it seems like it goes deeper than that. That's why it's a lawsuit. And which is not gonna go nowhere. They ain't gonna go nowhere. It's like your child having a temper tantrum, talking about what they want to do to you and stuff. They ain't gonna do nothing. Child, please. So that's what I think about that. But, big ups to Kendrick, man. For real. Like, I'm proud of him. And yes, I did say the Migos. But I do like the Migos. Rest in peace to Takeoff. I believe that he was the talent in that group. That man can spit, he could rhyme. I do believe that he was, the talent out of that group. And it's no shade to them, but no, he wasn't a KRS-One or anything like that. But I definitely think he had talent. But they are considered the mumble rappers. You can barely understand what they saying, but the beat is dope. The beat is dope. Hey, brown paper bag. She can't eat that. Oh, I better stop, because YouTube is gonna probably. But I do listen. I could show you my YouTube playlist right now. Some of these same artists that I am talking about, yes, I have them on my playlist, because when their music is good for like dancing and having a good time and stuff like that. You know, I remember I used to break it down with what's that one song, man? With French Montana, Rick Ross, Drake. Pop that it. That used to be my song, man. And Lil Wayne. So yeah, man. I do listen to rap. I grew up listening to rap because of my older brothers. My brothers listen to rap, but they listen to, this was back in the 90s and stuff. So, of course, they listen to Pac. They listen to Big. They listen to Jay-Z. They listen to 3-6 Mafia, Tribe Called Quest. My older brother, Dewan, he used to listen to Swisher House music and stuff like that. So, I like Gucci Mane. I like Swisher House music, chop and screw music. So yeah, I mean, just because I'm giving you the truth about it, that don't mean that I haven't indulged or listened or anything like that. But the truth is the truth, and I ain't never went out and tried to rob nobody or no crazy stuff like that. But I do think it's a mentality thing too. But we need to understand the plan that was put against us. Okay? The bigger picture, he just told you. He just told you.
The respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. Then he says, I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in awe and confusion. At the same time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with music. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies who receive funding from the government based on the number of inmates. Mm-hmm. The more inmates, the more the government would pay these prisons. Mm-hmm. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken back by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employees had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by making music which promote criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we also be able to buy stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this a fucking joke?" At this point, things became chaotic. Right. Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun, and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd, and all four of us was escorted outside. My industry colleague who opened up the meeting earlier hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking out about this publicly, or even those who attended the meeting. Okay. I asked him, why was he involved with something so corrupt? And he replied, it's bigger than the music business and nothing we can do And, no. It's bigger than the music business, and nothing we want to challenge without risking consequences.
From the Jewish
we
people.
all protested as we walked back into the house. I remember word for word.
The house
last
was somebody
thing he
Jewish.
said, "It's out of my hands now.
It's in the Jewish
Just remember,
people
you
hands.
signed an agreement."
From the
he
Jewish
then closed
people.
the door behind him. The men rushed us to our car and actually waited until we drove off the property.
Damn.
So
the Jewish people were the executives.
This meeting, bro.
Now that's a lot for a meeting right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, and this person
This is
later
how
on he
they
said,
did
you
it.
know, this person actually ended up leaving the music industry after this happened. Well, a few years after this, he ended up leaving the music industry.
Okay.
And he said he just like, you know, over the years he just felt guilty because he said as he sat back and he watched these plans come to a reality
over 2 decades.
He
No
sat
shit,
back and was
Sherlock.
like, wow, they really pulled it off.
Yeah, no shit.
They really pulled this off. He was like, they were told not to sign any more political rappers, any more rappers that had messages in their music.
Positive.
So my thing is to this guy, right, that walked away. I bet he think, you know, oh, because he walked away from it, you know, and he wasn't around. He was only around like at the beginning, you know. No, brother. Even if you didn't partake in it fully, you didn't tell the truth. You did not tell the truth. You withheld the truth. So you are still, the blood of your people is still on your hands. Whoever you are, the blood is still on your hands. That's why these people is Hello? That's why these people are passing away like this. The person that walked away, if they are still alive today, just know the blood is still on your hands. You're still going to have to face judgment for your role in this because you knew about it and you said nothing. You warned no one. Not who mattered. And this is what goes on in these secret societies, y'all. These secret societies, what you see, these Greek fraternities, these people strolling, they just the Vanna White of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how Wheel of Fortune was a game, but Vanna White was the pretty girl to attract. You know, they just that. You know, that's just the fun stuff. But the upper echelons of it is this. This is their plan. The Jewish people. The Jewish. It's been their plan.
It was all to be gangster rap music that
NWA.
they promoted and put out.
So if you wonder where
And this
Brand
was
Nubians
before
went,
us.
if you wonder where Brand Nubians went, where Pro Righteous Teachers went, where Public Enemy went, where KRS-One went, and all sorts of groups like that was talking, even Queen Latifah and Moni Love and those, you know what I'm saying? It's a back door.
Yeah, anything that was harmless, fun rap, you know, anything that had a message in it had to go.
Yeah, that's
You know
why
what
if
I'm
you
saying?
even notice though, now
And we talk about that all the time.
Even be brief with it, you know what I'm saying? Those charms that came out like maybe 1988, 89, the African charms, those they lasted for about 2 years and they disappeared real quick, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Now, after reading all this, you know, it actually made me feel a few different ways. The first emotion I felt was shocked, because I was definitely taken back by this, just knowing the level of evil that's involved by even thinking of a plan like this. You know what I'm saying? The second emotion I felt was anger. Anger because it's not enough for them to exploit our culture and make all the money off of it. Because let's keep it real, the industry has never been favorable towards the artists. Never. But they're going to go beyond the artists to get the artists to influence and lure in the consumer, which they knew at the time were mainly minorities. In other words, keep promoting gangster rap so that the youngsters will be influenced by them, which in turn will incite them to want to act like them. And it's a very good chance they'll end up in their prison.
Yeah.
So they're getting paid twice. They're getting paid from the artists they signing, and then they're getting paid from the people that these artists influence that goes to prison trying to be like these artists.
Yeah.
11-11. 11-11 on the clock.
They making a killing.
A killing.
They're using the music business to promote their private prison business.
My man is right there talking that right. 1988, a man named Tom Beasley, man. That's the co-founder of the corrections for Corporation of America. That's the CCA. You know what I'm saying? Excuse my French. I'm reading this thing right there real quick. It's the CCA. So in 1988, he founded that, and this is in straight concert with the same thing. So it's like the music business. You do what you do on your side. And over here with the correction facilities, we're going to do on this side because, and now in 1970, there was 500 prisons. You know what I'm saying? Only 500 prisons in the United States. To this day, there's 1,700 prisons right now. That means big business. I'm talking about that done flippled over. You know what I'm saying? If flippled over is a word. Because they're making a lot of money off of these things per inmate. You know what I'm saying? So getting with this, with the same thing of the music, it all went hand in hand, and we just partying at the same time.
So
we should be able to sue the country. We should be able to sue the country for this.
Music is the
because we can definitely prove
and
it.
the young consumers are the prey. It's a cold game.
Cold game, bro.
Cold game. Then I feel sad. Sad because everything we seem to try to create, we always seem to give it away. We're always being tricked and deceived into believing that they have our best interests at hand when clearly they never have and they never will.
Who is they?
They never will have our best interests at hand. It's blow after blow after blow after blow.
Who is they?
Yep.
The people that call you goyim, cattle. That's who they is. The people who think they can do this to you because they call us
fair
goyim.
use. Fair use. Now, so
even though they're goyim.
Y'all? How did they do it? How did they do it? How did they enact this plan? Well, he told you part of it, right? He told you part of it, because see, it's still some stuff that they have to leave out, but, you know, I'm going to fill you in on something. And this one is about to hurt, but it's time for y'all to, you know, hey, whatever. But how did they do it? They hired, quote unquote, actors. And I'm not saying that this next one is an actor at all, by no means. Well, he was an actor. But what I'm saying is they took people and gave them an image. See? And they lived in this image. And it was not really them at all. It was an image.
I'm most like my mom.
Fair use.
I'm arrogant. Totally arrogant. I agree. I have to say it. Like at work, I can't hold a job. I just quit my job today, actually, because I wanted to come and do this. And they wouldn't let me. And I felt like it was important, and it was more important than serving pizza. And we had enough people, so I felt like since I'm an actor, they should understand. They should have let me do it, but they didn't. And then I had a cold, so they were making me work in a freezer. And I'm really not one to be disrespected, and I felt like that was disrespectful because I asked to go, you know. So I quit, and he told me I couldn't quit, and that even made me hyper. I'm arrogant, so when he told me I couldn't quit and we had all these customers, I chose that time to jump on a soapbox, grab my leather jacket, light a cigarette in front of him, smoke, and leave.
Very dramatic.
So that was natural. That's arrogance at the top. That's I think almost like my mother, and she likes it. She'll see it in me and know it. And we clash a lot because I'm arrogant, she's arrogant, and you should see us when we get in our little attitude moves. It's like husband and wife, or it's brother and sister, but it's father, mother, and it's really father, mother, and son. She's my father and mother. So yeah, we know tips and everything, but it's good.
That's a great story. That's why my
Listen to this man.
It was me. I admit it.
Okay, well, you were saying how much you like her.
I ain't got a question of sexuality because everybody else is already playing these videos
So,
and doing it.
I am not questioning Tupac's sexuality. Please, I don't want to go there with this. I've seen others in their videos, you know, talking about, like, there is a video out there of Michael Jai White being interviewed, and I'm sure everybody has seen that, you know, video by now. But I'm not questioning his sexuality. I'm questioning the image part of it.
What image part of it, you ask? Okay, so when the interview that I just got done speaking about, it was Michael Jai White, and he said that pretty much Tupac was kind of effeminate, just like how you seen here. Just like how you seen here. If you would have not known that this was Tupac, a lot of straight dudes would not vibe with him sitting up talking like that with those kind of mannerisms. I'm just keeping it all the way 100. But since it's Tupac, heterosexual black men gonna do what they do best. Turn a blind eye. But let their cousin or their brother or somebody, you know, who don't got the fame and money of Tupac do that, then they'll be ready to beat them. And that's just how it is. Which is, that's wrong. Because you'll turn a blind eye to these guys. You know, you see them on TV kissing each other. You see them getting caught up with transgender. You see them. But you'll turn a blind eye to that because they got money. And like I said on one of my videos, it just only means that you can be bought. But Michael Jai White was being interviewed, and he pretty much said that Tupac, you know, the Tupac that he knew was, you know, not like the image that he portrayed. And I've seen a couple people say that. And he said that it wasn't until he played that role, Bishop, from Juice, he took that and ran with that. And he was already a great actor. You just seen him talking about it here. So he knows how to play a role. And you're going to go on to hear him say that when he played that role, he got the attention that he wanted from the girls. So, you know, and that's why I said I'm not here to question his sexuality. Not one because everybody else already is, and then two, you know, here he is saying that he's into women. So, you know, that's, you know, he's saying that he's into women. You know, so I just take that and go with that. You know, but the macho persona came from that role that he played, that Bishop character.
They came up with these images, y'all. That is, you know, and they made you believe that dudes like Tupac, what I just showed you, who loves to read, who loves reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Schools taught me reading, which is, I love reading, writing, and arithmetic. That's it. Like, I feel a lot of friends because I have respect for women, ultra respect for women. But then, like, I was liking this girl in Tam, and I'm extra nice, you know, extra gentleman. I'm extra just like, oh, you're beautiful and you deserve the best. And she told me I was too nice. I couldn't believe it. It wouldn't work because I was too nice. That was the ultimate stab in the back. So I went through a week of just going, forget it, I'm just going to be like them. Because they seem to get the girls, and they call girls the B word, you know, and they smack and beat, and they're getting girls, and I'm going, peace, and I think you're beautiful, and they're going to me, well, I like him because he's masculine. I'm masculine. I mean, and with the guy, and like yesterday he was cursing, and I was like, don't curse, and he got mad at me because I told him not to curse. And then when his rich people from Jamaica and everything comes to see him, they'll be, oh, these people, you know, and that's. I loved my classes. We were exposed to everything. You know, theater, ballet, listen to different types of music.
Please play the 17-year-old Tupac, the interview. That's who he was. Yeah,
See? That interview. So, this goes on, you know, like I said, a lot of people have seen that interview where Michael Jai White is talking about Tupac, and he caught a lot of flack from what he said, but it's true. He just told you in the interview, he just told you he was nice to girls, you know, but they didn't want him, that's a toxic trait in black women, unfortunately. You know, and they'll sit up and play like they don't like them bad boys, but they do. And they consider that masculinity. And that's why many of them go back. But, hey, I have a message to my black women coming. And I also have a message to my black men, too. My heterosexual black men. Because, oh no, I have 2 videos of me addressing black gay men in the black gay community. So yeah, y'all not exempt either. Okay, so this is part 1. I'm gonna have to do this in 2 parts because I'm already at 2.5 hours with this. So this is where this video is gonna end. But I really need you to, if you made it to the end of this, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. The reason why I'm doing this video is because of the importance of the next video that's going to be talking about Freemasonry and the origins of Freemasonry and what they believe in and how this all ties in together. So I can't put it all on one video because it's too big, and you know, people ain't gonna, you know, most people ain't trying to sit there and watch no 4 to 5 hour video, you know, but so that's why I try to break it into multiple parts. But I do thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your prayers. Definitely appreciate, you know, the love. Thank you for your views. But yeah, so the next video that's gonna come is going to be about Freemasonry and how the Jewish people are, you know, the role that they play in it. So I need you to keep all of this that I just talked about and bring it into the next video, okay? Have a blessed day. Thank you. Part 1.